So welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us as we go over the highlights for the American Ancestors Challenge Week. The WikiTree Challenge is our biggest ongoing community event. Every other week, volunteers collaborate to grow 7 degrees of connections for a special genealogy guest star or society. So first, we just want to kind of go over a few things on the space page that we use for collaboration. The list of locations that we went to for the challenge. So we went all over the world. So in Canada, we have 9 provinces that were represented.
Which one did you miss?
I was surprised you found a PEI connection in that list, so that's amazing.
Yes.
Nice. Yeah, I think you got everything but the Yukon territories, probably.
Saskatchewan. That's
Saskatchewan. Yeah, you got Saskatchewan. Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, and it's really great able to find out this information, even if people don't report it. I can always go back in using WikiTree Plus, looking at those challenge profiles and seeing, the connections to them where they are. So
yeah.
And Newfoundland is missing. That's the other one.
Yeah, I was gonna say Newfoundland is the one that's missing.
That's the big one. Yeah, that's the one that's missing.
And Labrador.
So
and Labrador.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, and the Yukon territories, like
they're one province now,
that's
so that's what count them together.
Furthest west and furthest east, pretty much.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
and then we're all the way down to Chile and in Cuba. In England, we have a lot of counties in England.
Look at them all.
Yeah.
France, Germany, Hungary, Italy, Prussia, Mexico, Japan. We were in Lithuania, Scotland.
I think I knew who that one belongs to. So
yeah, South Africa, and then we had 48 of the U.S. states.
Oh, so close.
Yep.
Wow, you had Massachusetts. That's a surprise.
I wonder how that happened.
Yeah.
So there was a little glitch at the beginning, so we weren't able to capture the before starting numbers on all of these, but I think there were only a few that we had already on WikiTree, right? So
I think most of them actually were on WikiTree. I know Harris was new. But I think a lot of them, like AOM was able to find or link like the parents or grandparents for some of them. But yeah, I think at least 2 or 3 of them were already on there, and then a couple other ones I think that their extended family was on there. So
yeah. Once we got connected, so you can see here at the top the numbers. This is the CC7 total count for each of the ancestors, 7 ancestors.
Yeah.
And what everybody did, we had a total of 52 participants. And then down here at the bottom, this is the total number of profiles added per ancestor profile.
Okay.
So these are the connections within 7 degrees. So you can see the vast difference between those 2 numbers is because we didn't have to add a lot of profiles before we connected into the main tree. On most of these, there was already profiles on WikiTree for a lot of them, like you were saying, Melanie.
Yeah, I think obviously with Harris that was a little different. That one probably took a while to connect, I'm sure.
Yeah. So on Blanche, yeah, exactly. On Blanche, we had just want to show the total 7 degrees. Okay. So Greg has this app that he developed for us, and it shows the within 7 degrees the rings of out each level. So it's a great way to visually see how many connections within 7 degrees. So this is for Emma.
Okay.
I meant to be on Farrington.
Greg, that's quite an impressive chart.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. It was fun to make.
There's a lot of options to it too. This is just the basic view.
Yeah.
There's a lot more you can do with it. We just kind of took a snapshot of it. So this is
is this the first time you've seen this chart, David?
Yes, I
So
am
the way I've made it,
mesmerized.
every dot is an individual, and the inner ring is the one that's your immediate family. And then the color code of the dark dots are your direct ancestors. So in the, there'll be 2 direct ancestors and then 4 and so on. And as it goes out, as you get farther apart, more degrees out, the color changes so you can see. And what was neat about the very first one is you could really tell how as you go one more generation out, it grows exponentially. Like in this one here, it's not quite as obvious, but in the first, like the 7th degree, and the last, I don't know if you want to go back just a sec, Azure.
On this one, this is a different person.
Oh, okay. I was going to say the first one you showed, it really,
for
so
Emma.
right there,
Yeah, that one. Like,
you can
you can
see
see the
like
outer ring really
every
blown
ring,
up.
it just gets wider and wider and wider. So it's because the families obviously got bigger and you're twice as many families.
Wow.
So it's kind of neat. But there is, Azure says, there's lots of options, including the options have not just dots, but actual bubbles with people's name and birth and death dates on it too. So, but of course that would be massive and you wouldn't be able to read it at this in a Zoom session.
Unless you had really, really good eyesight.
Yeah. If you wanted a large wall chart, you could do that.
I've always thought of a mural for my ceiling in the living room would be a wonderful idea.
Perfect. Yes.
Well, yeah, because this outputs to PDF documents, so you can just, do whatever you'd like with it, really.
Yeah. Send it to a printer.
Whatever size you'd like.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the migration map for Farrington is here. Great. So within 7 degrees, this is where all those people that are within 7 degrees that we saw on the other chart, this is where they all went. And so the red is birth, I think, and then the blue is death.
That's right. Yeah.
So it's a migration chart basically for everybody.
And because of the way Alesh has that programmed, the births are plotted first and the deaths are plotted on top. So there for every blue dot there should be a red dot, but most of them are probably hidden underneath those blue dots that are there.
Right. I mean, you see the density obviously very high in New England, so
exactly,
which you'd
expect, right?
Yeah.
And another thing that's great about this too, this is just like a static view, but with the actual app, you can drill in to different locations way down to, it's just part of that's a map. So you can just drill way down.
That's right. And the one thing I should point it out, that dot that's sort of in the middle there, that represents a place that are an unknown location. So that's just sort of the origin.
I was going to say, is this like a holiday destination?
That's right.
Yeah, I was thinking more like a shipwreck or something happening.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
No, if they have no location, then that's sort of the default place.
Well, I got to say, I am 1 degree from Ethel Farrington Smith because I knew her. She was a very, very well-learned genealogist. She wrote a book on American doctors, American female doctors, which I have one of the only signed copies. And she was well loved by the organization. And she would have been awestruck by this technology to see all of this. So.
Great.
Nice.
So next, I just want to cover for Blanche, we had an interesting find of Alfred Hawes. So he was a notable naturalist. So his, sorry, I lost my place here. His collection is been on display at different museums and schools, colleges. So, and Yale actually has a book, pocket diary in their collection there for him. So it's just kind of interesting, the connection there to her. So you can read more about that there on his profile. That's Alfred Hawes. And the interesting finds, of course, are all back on the space page. You can kind of link into the profiles there. So Emma, I lost Emma's page here. Let me see. Okay, so Emma is here, and we were back on her. This is her 7-degree chart that we saw first. She has 4,465 connections within 7 degrees.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
her map is here. So again, just like Greg was mentioning, this right here is of course an unknown location, but she's got family that or relations or connections that went all the way to Australia. So it's kinda, I love seeing this layout here. And there was an interesting find for Emma, I believe. Let me just double check here on the space page. So her niece was a leader in the suffragette movement, and she also served overseas during World War I with Red Cross. So that's Margaret Hall. And this is a newspaper article about her. It's an obituary for her, talks more about that. And that's of course linked into the profile.
It's a wonderful discovery.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Harris. So his name actually got changed from the Pourvu to the Purve. That was discovered, the spelling for that. And of course, this was the one that Aowen, one of the ones that Aowen had to create. So this is his profile, and there was, like we were talking about before, there was a lot of collaboration and work that was done on his profile. And let's go over to his.
Yeah, I'm curious, what was the big discovery to kind of link him to his parents in the Lithuania? Curious what was, if you remember what was found.
Oh, go ahead.
I don't think it was a big discovery. I think it was pretty his siblings, we found his siblings, and between his graves and his siblings' graves, we got enough of confirmation of the first names, and then we Thomas figured out what names it was likely to have been, and when we dug into them, we found people matching those names in the censuses, and then a lot of supporting. Once we started digging into those censuses, wow, we found a lot of supporting information for him.
Okay, yeah, and I'm seeing looks like you found like a passenger list record as well, so that's great. So you're able to recreate a lot of the family, and then that helps confirm with everything. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, because that's something like I was saying to Azure in the beginning, like that we didn't really have a lot of information known about him. You know, there's a lot of records of him, like obviously around Hyas in the Boston newspapers, but not really a lot about, you know, extended family and where he came from. So
yeah, we found a lot of I don't know that they all got cited, but once we started digging, like his sister Ava, when she got married, her brothers showed up and are listed in newspaper articles as being there. And this guy, actually the big thing was this guy here, Yangel Zorka, is not a common name, and there is a memorial with the Pourvu family with that name on it. It's Yakov, but the middle name is
Rare.
the same, and that made it a lot easier to find this family. Once we found this record, it was pretty obvious that we'd found the right family.
nice.
That's great.
That might have been the big discovery.
How far back were we able to take the family? So it's like, so we have like the siblings. You have,
Yeah.
Thomas
So
did it.
it's
Looks like, yeah.
oh wow,
But there's,
that's
if you
great.
look into that, if you do the dynamic tree that he spreads, we got a bunch of the relatives back there.
Yeah, that's great.
Um,
Or the super tree? Oh, they're done.
you mean this one or the?
I think this one, yeah. But perhaps, oh, I may have meant it from, sorry, I think I meant it from his grandfather, from Wolf David. Or that guy. There's a bunch
Okay.
more.
Yeah, that's really impressive. Just the fact we got that far back in
Mhm.
Lithuania.
Very,
And
very
you-
That was all Thomas.
well,
He
kudos to
like
Thomas.
literally
Tom
he
Conalon?
went through the books. I think he had a very boring plane ride, and so he went through the books and created a list of all of the people with that last name in the area, and then for some of them I could match to like people showing up. There's another Porvu who shows up a lot, Samuel, and they end up being like second cousins. He was also a philanthropist in the Boston area.
Hmm.
Okay.
And they ended up being like second cousins or something like that.
They probably knew each other, I'd almost guess.
Mhm.
Small circle.
He was no, actually I don't think he was in second cousins. I think he was Harris's nephew. Actually, one of his brothers stayed behind in Lithuania and ended up dying. But the Samuel came to the U.S. and had relatives and whatnot. They're all connected.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
So we've got 385 connections for him. The snapshot that we took just a little bit after the challenge. And let's see. So when I go back, I want to see what it is now. Just curious. We'll let it run in the background here.
Oh,
The naming convention was if they came to the U.S., we gave them the last name that they had here. Otherwise, particularly if they were born and died in Lithuania, they have their, I think it's in Hebrew.
Yeah, looks like it.
mhm. I want to know how you typed in his name in the Hebrew characters.
I did not. Thomas did that.
Thomas is great with that.
Yeah.
With all of that.
Who's
So-
talking, by the way? Because I don't think I see you. Who's in the? Who's talking right now
On
on
the
the
phone?
the phone? Yeah.
That's Celia.
Oh, hey, Celia. I've been seeing you a
Oh.
lot in Discord, so nice to meet you virtually.
So here is the migration map for Harris.
Okay.
Mhm.
Nice.
Really, yeah, great.
Yeah, I
So
think
does
this
that follow?
definitely.
I was going to say, is that following the path of how they migrated from Russia through Europe and then to the States?
I don't know.
It kind
I
of
think
looks
I
like.
it's
think for
just
some of them it was. Some of the kids, the particularly the earlier or later kids were born other places. Also, sometimes the places they were born changed names between
Mhm.
one and the next, as far as I can tell. Well, probably not that fast, but they did get pushed around a little bit.
And one of the space pages that was created, of course, was for the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society history that Elaine put together for us. She's she leads the Jewish Roots project on WikiTree, so she's got this all together and linking, of course, to Harris's profile.
Oh, very
So
nice.
it's something she's going to be expanding on there. Of course, you know, space pages can be created for anything. It's one thing I love about them.
Mhm.
And the interesting find for Harris was, let's see here.
Besides obviously figuring out where his family's from.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the big one
Which
right
is an
there.
interesting
Big in
find.
its own right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So Abraham Brightman and his wife, Lena, were founders of the first synagogue in Canton, Massachusetts.
Oh,
That's a town away from where I live.
Oh, wow.
I know where that synagogue is.
So here is Abraham's profile. And of course, Lena is right here. And then there is the Boston Globe article is linked in here.
and how far removed was degree-wise was he from Harris? I would assume it's somewhere between this in the CC7.
Yeah. Let's see. Yep, 5 degrees.
Oh, okay.
Mhm. There you go.
Bad ball.
Still at 385. I was just curious to see if it
Yeah.
increased any.
Yeah. Over time, hopefully it will. So
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so Mary Campbell Holman is our next one. And so here is her, let's go to her. Here she is. So she's got 6,127 connections within 7 degrees of her.
Wow.
Oh wow. Yeah, yeah. That's wow. Yeah.
That's almost hypnotic, Greg.
Yeah, it is actually.
Yeah, if you stare, oh, I'm not gonna flip the screen now.
I think if you let your eyes go out of focus, it makes a picture.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
You can see some nice parabolic curves in it, if you look closely. I'm a retired math teacher.
I mean, the pictures are careful, but yeah.
And here's her migration map for her relations and connections within 7 degrees. Again, all over. Looks like even Thailand, which is one we
Yes.
missed. That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, and so Annie is next, Annie Thwing. She was one that was already on WikiTree. And currently she has 4,977 connections, which you can see here, notable connections. The connection count shows up right here,
Yep.
right here at the top.
And she's apparently a cousin to you, Asher. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Cousin,
here
that's pretty
is
cool.
here is her, let's see.
I use her work almost every week.
yeah, the
Oh,
inhabitants
really?
of
Truly
Yep.
the genealogist for Boston families. She
Yep.
did a tremendous amount of work to put that together. And she wrote an amazing book called The Crooked and Narrow Streets of Boston, which I have on my bookshelf above me, which she's great historian and genealogist.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, still widely used to look at
Oh,
early
yeah.
Boston inhabitants
Mhm.
today. So
So here's Annie's CC7, 7 degrees chart. And
Okay.
her map is, oh, the other way. I thought I had these in order, but I went in the wrong
Easy to get out of
order.
order. Yeah.
Sorry about that. So it looks
Ooh.
like she had some connections down in Australia and India, Madagascar, all over.
And is that in New Zealand there on the far left?
Yes, I think so.
I should have shifted it around. I should have shifted the map a little bit so that it was right next to Australia. I didn't notice that it had done that. In Hawaii? Is that Hawaii?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
All right. And then the interesting find for Annie's line was, let's go down here. George Putnam, whose son Henry Florence was the Unitarian minister in Roxbury. And he was a founding member of the Transcendental Club, along with Frederick Hedge, Ralph Waldo Emerson, and George Ripley.
Mhm.
So here's his profile. Another cousin. And this is the article about the Transcendental Club. So Annie Augusta Holbrook Glover is next up. And she is, nope, wrong way. Thought I had it. Oh no, the wing was the last one. That's what I.
Did I miss one? No.
You didn't do these ones. I did
Oh yeah,
these.
that's.
I must have missed. Well, we'll go ahead and just get hers. We'll let it run in the background while we do the migration map. So many options on the tree apps section, of course. Oh, I'm in the wrong one. I always do that. I always want to go to get it in the tree apps, but it's in here in the
Oh
apps
yes, it's in the
menu.
other app. Yes. At some point, I'm
I have to
intending
get
to
her.
incorporate it as an option in the CC7 app. Since the CC7 app already collects all the right data, I just need to add a tab to format it in that form.
Okay, and then her.
So I didn't do a map for her there either, then. Let me do that.
Yeah. Okay. So the interesting find for her was, here she is.
Holbrook, what's the digits at the end?
4695. So one of her connections, Percival Wayland White, was one of the ones lost on the Titanic.
Oh.
So there's
I had a cousin lost. Well, no. Everybody had a cousin lost on the Titanic.
I knew 10 passengers from the Titanic. They were all children and young adults, including the last survivor who used to send my children Christmas presents from England, Milvina Dean.
Huh.
Wow.
That's amazing to have a connection with that for her. And you found a photograph of her too.
Yeah, because we didn't really have a lot of information known about her. We knew that she wrote Glover memorials and genealogies, and at first we thought maybe that was her maiden name and not, or not her married name. So there wasn't a lot really known about her. So that's pretty cool. You got a picture of her.
That's amazing.
Mhm. One of the ones, while we're waiting for that to come up, I think it was Coleman that I did some work on. Just want to double check. Yeah. So she was the executor for another author, Alice Baker. And so I went ahead and created her profile, and it ended up that they're related. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
That they worked together, they were colleagues. And so anyway, it's just kind of interesting, the connections that you find between people that work together.
Yeah, I'm seeing she donated pieces to the old State House. So, interesting. Wonder if it's still there.
So the articles are linked here if anybody's interested in reading more about that. So here is, we got 6 degrees loaded for Anna.
Well, it's almost
coming.
10,000, right? So it's going to take a while.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow! Look at her.
I've uploaded the map to the Google Drive folder if you want.
Okay.
Still loading.
There we go.
Wow.
A lot of the US is almost covered here.
Yeah.
And a lot of England and Scotland looks like.
There's one dot on the North Island of New Zealand.
Yeah.
But
And one
A
in
lot of
China.
Atlantic Canadians too. I bet you she had cousins who were probably connection that were loyalists that went up to Canada
Uh-huh.
and planters in the 1760s as well.
Yeah, those dots do cross some of them do cross the border into Canada.
Yep, still
Yeah, you can see up the coast there. Well, you're not looking at it, but you can see up the coast goes right into Nova Scotia.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was just gonna grab her. See, she's 8,931.
Wow.
So she's the one that has the most connections
Yeah.
within 7 degrees.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Everybody's her relative.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's funny. We didn't really have much about her, so that's
Mm.
pretty cool.
It's very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This is Mary. I worked mostly on her relatives. And I noticed that as I was doing that, somehow 7 profiles got added to the Thwing column as well. So she's related to them somehow too, I guess.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I
Yeah, I'll
didn't.
show. I have a chart for you all to show the connections between them, all of them, and then you guys as well. So
Yeah.
Well,
you'll be
Nice.
able to
Yeah, I mean that would
see
make
that in
sense
there.
though if you have people in Boston, I'm sure there are some distant cousins somewhere along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Another thing I noticed about her, I mean, I pretty much concentrated in Massachusetts. I didn't, because I had, I had another
Mhm.
reason for working on her group. But I noticed that she had a lot of shoemaker and bootmaker cousins, and that, but unfortunately, I didn't think to start counting them early in the work. So I I didn't know if it was statistically significant or not, but there seemed to be a lot of shoemakers and bootmakers who died young in their 30s and 40s.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured they were using some pretty bad chemicals.
Yeah.
Oh
In
yeah.
fact, the Glovers
Really?
were really heavy in the areas of Stoughton where I live and Brockton, which was North Bridgewater. And Brockton is known as Shoe City, and Stoughton was really a boot manufacturing and also later in rubber boot manufacturing. So we were shotting a lot of people back then.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And even on the North Shore, I know like Peabody was definitely another big town that had a lot of shoemakers in the
Oh,
area and
Lynn as
Lynn and
well.
everything too.
Yeah.
I mean, figure people, like I said, people needed shoes and they didn't last long. So,
It was
you
the
know,
home industry that really sprung up. I mean, that was
yeah.
part of the Industrial Revolution in New England was that you were
Mhm.
making shoes in the wintertime as you were a farmer just for your own family, and cobblers would then expand and they decided they would make home industry larger. And the first factories in my hometown were for boots and shoes in the
Well, and there
1820s.
should be a category we could add to those people too for their occupation
Mhm.
of bootmaker,
Yeah.
shoemaker. Yeah.
Hmm,
So then we
interesting.
can check that profiles connection in that category. Then, whenever you're in a category, you can always check your connections to everybody in that category. I
thought
love
the
that
story
new
was going to
option.
take a different turn, Mary. I thought you were going to say that not only were there bootmakers, but bootleggers. Hence the early.
No, that would be my side of the family.
There were a couple of malters.
No, well, there you go.
Well,
Yeah.
they had the great impression of what they should have become.
Woohoo, there it is. Look at that.
Wow.
I had to
Wow.
zoom way out for that one.
Look at that.
That's crazy.
That is wild.
It is. Wow.
Okay, I'm just gonna grab it. Let's see. Save as.
Poor Harris.
It's okay. It's gonna catch up eventually. So, the good thing is that we got him connected and we got him in there and a lot of
Yeah.
information known. It's gonna really start to help.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about. People will,
Yeah.
do a search for their family and, oh, there's somebody on WikiTree with that last name, or,
Yeah.
Right.
then they can add
And
theirs.
I'm curious, were the ones that you're working on Harris, were you just kind of drawn to him because he had such little information, or was it kind of like it's just something new to research and try and you know, like just
I
do,
help with the Jewish roots stuff, so.
yeah. Yeah, no,
You're
I
No,
see
I
part of
that
would
the
you're,
Jewish
always
I
roots.
see
feel you're
that.
very good with that.
I saw the Poorview name all the time in my own research because my grandmother's maiden name was Poor, just like the financial condition. And when I look at an index, the next name after Pore was Porvu. And I say, what name is that? So
Mhm.
now I know.
Now you know. Now you know. It's a Lithuanian name. Yeah.
Yeah, it
So-
was interesting. There were a couple, like basically as far as we could tell, that all the Porvus that came over were his family. There's a
Wow.
couple like Harvey. There was a couple that we were like, I think these people are probably related, but possibly not, because the other problem is that they could just all be from the same town
Yeah.
with the same name.
Sure.
Same as it works in Boston.
DNA will tell. So at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah, how many of them show up in the highest records, actually?
Yeah, well, I'll have to let JHC know, our Jewish Heritage Center, you know, because I'm sure they'll be interested in the research on him.
True.
Yeah.
So here's Lois Carter Kimball Rosenberry's profile. This is another one that was created by Eowyn,
Okay.
another cousin.
Mhm.
And here's her profile, of course. And then here is her 7 degrees, 4,818 is where she's at. And the migration
Okay.
map is, let's see here, Kimball. There we go. Oh, wow. A lot of the US is covered. Wow. That's so crazy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But there's some up into the north.
Yeah, up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and I was thinking
Hawaii.
Australia,
Sweden and Sweden, Finland there.
Oh, yeah. That's great. Italy. That's where the Italy one comes from.
Very nice.
Huh. All right. And so her, the interesting story for her line was about Alexander Kelly was the captain of the John Rutledge when it sank. And it's on the New England Historical Society website. The picture.
Not to be confused with the New England Historic Genealogical Society.
Yeah, not us.
No,
That's on our
not
side,
us,
unfortunately. Okay.
And then the this line had two interesting finds. So Jesse Carroll Bisbee owned a traveling show called the Bisbee Comedians. That's pretty interesting. He's a magician and comedian.
Not a bootlegger on the side.
Yeah, that's right.
Who knows? Anything's possible. All right. And so we did the migration for her. So
Wow.
here are the connections is on the top here. And the relationships, of course, are on the bottom. And David, you had the closest connection to Levering. Third cousin, fourth times removed.
I like that. I
Nice.
use her research all the time. I'll have to thank my cousin now. Literally.
So you're cousins with basically everybody but Harris and Melanie.
Yeah, Melanie and I are not related. We've
No.
come to realize that.
And I have very few cousins like that are notables on WikiTree. Actually, none right now. So
Oh.
it'll change one day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just
But
use
that's okay.
that one connection that comes in and it'll link in.
It'll
But
all
you can
link in.
see, yeah, you can see that they're all
Yeah.
a lot of them are connected to each other pretty closely. Some of them fifth cousins.
And the
Yeah.
Lovering
Levels.
connection makes sense in a way because a lot of the families she's worked on were Essex County families. And there are a lot of them were my ancestors. So that would make sense that she was picking some of her own family besides her client genealogy she was doing. So that close connection makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's really a lot of fun. So those are your connections and relations to
connections.
the 7 ancestors that you guys provided to us.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So Celia and Mary and Kathy, do you want to share anything else about what you worked on and how you found out anything, or anything exciting you want to share that we didn't already cover? Just want to make sure we touch all the bases.
Well,
Harris's wife her family went to Maine, and that was a little pocket of Jewish population in Maine.
Okay.
We had some interesting. It was interesting because that's not actually her birth name, Levine. We don't know what her birth name is.
Oh, I see.
That's her stepfather's name.
Oh, okay.
Which we didn't know until we started doing the math. And he married Rosie in 1882, so in Maine.
Okay.
So she was already born by then. We couldn't find any solid records for her before her marriage, but her half siblings are there, and she has a half sibling as well.
Looks like,
Okay.
yeah. So it'll be interesting to be able to, maybe somebody will come along that can work that out for us eventually.
Yep.
Wonderful research.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Yeah. Great job, everybody.
How about you, Kathy or Mary?
I not anything particular about the people that we were researching, but I was interested in this challenge because a couple of months ago I started researching my aunt's family tree and by marriage, and I discovered that one of her lines goes back to immigrants from sometime between, I guess, in the 1630s. So I figured I'd find out more by participating in this challenge, and somehow I don't know how because I didn't keep track of it, but her connections, her 7 CCs grew to 967
Wow.
Wow.
after this challenge was done. So it's
Oh, so
her
there's a
100th.
connection in there somewhere.
Yep. Her
That's
100th
exciting.
birthday is in June, and her kids are having, I mean, she's deceased, but her children,
Oh.
my cousins, are having a party in her honor. So I figured I'd give them, a chart of their tree or something. So
That's
this is
Nice.
all
That's a great,
very interesting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
that's a wonderful present. I never thought of that. My dad would be 99 this year, and I think next year I'm going to do that. Or
Uh-huh.
would have been his 100th. That's a
Yeah.
wonderful idea.
Yeah. So
That's a
that's what
neat
I'm
idea.
trying to do.
That's great. Wow.
Yeah. And you never know if those distant connections that might help you get next lead going back further,
Mhm.
Yeah.
what you want to know about your family.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So is there anything anybody wants to see or talk about before we wrap up?
I mean, as you probably saw, that we basically picked people that were tied to our collections. That's really the main point of a lot of it, and it was kind of fun to kind of pick mostly women for Women's History Month.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
and then of course we wanted to highlight, Hyas as well, and as part of our Jewish Heritage Center. So that's why we had Harris. So I hope that kind of helped explain why we picked them. So about a lot of their ties to the genealogy community and into different records and
They,
everything.
they were
And
great profiles to work on.
And as a genealogist, we often think about the great work these genealogists have done, but we never even really think about their own genealogy. And I think that's kind of like what Melanie and I do in our field. we spend a lot of time working on other people's genealogies, not as much on ours. So that's why I was grateful for the WikiTree challenge results that I got when I was bowled over with emotion and delighted. So I'm sure if any of these individuals were still alive today, and like I said, I knew Ethel Farrington Smith, well, Blanche, but we always called her Ethel. She would have loved all of this, and especially all the high tech stuff. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's so neat to hear. I love it.
I,
That's
I
great.
do have a question for Melanie and David, since
Sure.
you were
Sure.
both, we did both of your branches during the challenge. So you know what WikiTree can do coming together during a challenge.
Mhm.
Would you say this challenge doing these profiles was equal to when we did yours?
I think it's different levels of, I would say, how we feel about it, if that's what you're asking. Because obviously for ours, it's very personal, right? It's
Right.
people that we knew and stories about and everything.
Yeah.
Versus it's almost like for us, these kind of challenges, these are good for us academically, I'll say, because then we can be like, oh, we can update a collection like how we did last year's. We had Kenneth Alford. There was all this information found out about him, about,
Right.
even where the name came from, and information I think on his father's line that wasn't known. Like, that's great. We can actually add that to our case study for
Mhm.
helping students. Or Harris Poor Review, we can actually reach out to the family that is, possibly still doing advancement, fundraising with us, and share that kind of information as well, and also just have the satisfaction. But I think it's a different level of
Mhm.
how we feel about it. I mean, because it's, because it is, because I think that Dave and I really got a lot out of our own personal one,
Oh,
because that was just,
true.
like I said, it's just like the fact you have like crowdsourcing, over 50 volunteers, for example, and working on your tree, like, it's amazing. I mean, that's going to be the closest I might see personally to getting to something like, quote, the finding the roots treatment or things like that, where, someone's really actively looking at something on your
I
tree.
was so very flattered to
Yeah.
be asked. And I can tell you that for all the years of working at American Ancestors, doing other people's trees, I've never had anybody say, hey, you want help with yours? And to have a team crowdsource and do it. And to really, I mean, for one aspect of my tree, which was a game changer, to have a fourth great grandfather who I thought for certain was my fourth great grandfather was not. It was another person by the same name, a year older, in the same parish in Brereton, Cheshire, England. It
Wow.
changed my tree. It also cut out my mother's paternal line back to the 1500s, but that's okay because I would rather be related to the correct family versus one that was the incorrect one. So will forever be grateful for WikiTree. And I may not be as active as Melanie is, but I can tell you this much: I use it all the time now. I will be in consultations and I'll say, let's see what WikiTree has to offer. And 8 times out of 10, I find a tree or something on there. And I think I've converted people to realize that what WikiTree has in such a strength in the cited work and the professionalism and the research, isn't just a regular online tree. It is WikiTree. And to me, it's high scholarship at a really amazing level. And I am deeply appreciative for what my challenge gave me. And I know Melanie is as well.
Oh, absolutely. And I had a lot of things that changed on my end, even things that maybe I haven't quite revealed. But I mean, I'm still working through things that has still come up, still from, even though that was a few years ago, I'm actually still working through like a lot of those brick walls, and I'm actually clearing some of those now, or I'm learning newer things that I didn't know about though. So it's, yeah, immensely helpful and grateful for just that help to get that.
That's great.
I also know that the rules were different when we had worked on your branches of the trees. We started at, I think, great grandparents and kind of went back and out and everything. We weren't focused on the CC7
Right.
like we are now. So I know it's kind of comparing apples and oranges, but because you both have had your branches worked on, you have seen what can be done, as far as WikiTree working together. So
Now I need to know what my big chart looks like that Greg did. To see how many cousins I have.
Yes.
Oh,
I
what was your
Four-
profile ID? It's
Yeah, it's 4
Remember.
4. It was just on the screen.
It was just on the screen. I was gonna say.
Yeah, 4412, I think.
oh yeah, that's
No,
right.
I,
It
have-
was
I
just on
didn't
the
get the
screen.
tattoo with it on there yet. But
Oh no.
Here it is. Here we go. 4314.
Just keep
There we
a
go.
QR
Okay.
code in there.
I should have it. I for some reason I memorize
I was
numbers.
gonna say,
really-
you haven't had it microchipped in your brain yet, David?
no, I have it bookmarked on my computer though, because I remember you giving me grief at work when I said I need to find my WikiTree number. You said you don't have it memorized,
Mhm.
and so
Mhm.
I always keep going to the tree apps. I just gotta get out of the habit of that.
Oh, for the
Sorry.
yeah.
6 degrees.
I would love to see if I could find. Can we ever find a notable cousin anywhere that I'm connected to? It'd be nice to just have one cousin show up in that chart every, in the
I
weekly
give you one of
email.
mine. How's that sound? Though I
It's
get
just
extra.
it just feels like, why is there nobody? It's so weird.
There are. You just haven't found them yet.
I think it's partially also the result of having mostly very recent immigrant lines. I think that's really a big part of it too.
Mhm.
And if you, I don't know if you've used WikiTree Plus at all, but you can always search using WikiTree Plus for notable sticker, or even, look for the word Wikipedia. You can search for text Wikipedia, see if somebody has a Wikipedia article referenced on their profile within, a certain amount to you.
Yeah.
So it's another way you can go about it. It's loading.
It's growing. It's going.
Gracious.
All right, you're through 6.
Yeah, there's like Greg was saying, there's a lot of different options on what you see and how you see it, and you can
Mhm.
save it.
Wow.
Lots of different settings. We love Greg's apps.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh yeah. I love all the apps.
Mhm.
Or as Mindy
Especially
would, or as Mindy would say, all the toys on the
The
WikiTree.
toys, that's right. All of the toys.
All the different ways to look at the data.
Yes.
Can nerd out on them.
Yeah. Or you
No,
could
Melanie, no ancestor envy, okay?
yeah.
It's okay. I'm sure you'll run my chart next. It'll be a little smaller, but it's okay. But I actually add to my CC7 every week. I work on it. So
That's great. There you
Well,
go.
might be equal. There you go.
1,534.
Wow.
Oh, very nice.
Oh, there it goes.
That's interesting.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
There we
I was
go.
thinking-
That-
Well, there
I
we
was
go.
gonna
I
say, I was a little small. I
what
was like,
happened
where
to
is
the
it?
earlier
Yeah, I
generations?
know.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna look. I've been adopted out of some of my ancestors.
Mhm.
There you go.
Wow, that's amazing. Almost looks like a braided rug.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd
Yeah.
be cool, right? Like a rug.
Maybe think like a circular placemat.
Mhm.
Exactly. You can have it printed on dishes.
There you go.
That's
I love it.
That's cool. Thank you.
now Melanie's.
I was gonna say I knew
Mhm.
my ID in case you needed it. Unlike some people.
Oh wow.
Oh. Now, my son-in-law, his last name was Doherty, so I'm wondering if we can find a connection between us somehow.
I want to find
Yes.
how you're related to Shannon Doherty.
Yeah, but the thing is, a lot of the Dohertys are come out of County Donegal, and mine
Okay.
all go through Monaghan. So, I mean, it may eventually go out to Donegal much further back in time, but I feel like I'm one of those, I'm split off, from a lot of them.
Okay.
I'm 22 degrees from you.
I
Where
know,
am
I have
I'm
a few.
22 degrees from Melanie as well. Mhm.
Yeah,
19. Oh, David, we're cousins.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, hey, I know those families.
I'm envious when you can get back to an 8th grade grandparent. That's gonna be a little while for me.
Look at it grow. Hey, that's
It's
amazing.
going. Well, I think I'm up to like 1,009 or so, roughly, on my
Nice.
So
CC7.
I'm curious.
I was
I'm
happy to
close
clear
to cousins
1,000,
with
you know?
David.
Greg, are you connected to Melanie or David? How about
I
you guys,
am
Kathy, Mary, Soraya?
connected to Melanie at 22 degrees, and let me just
Yeah.
check out David's again. So
I would
Nice.
check
Already
what
get
I'm.
My
right?
holiday card list is going to have to grow now.
Hold on a second.
Cousins.
I think for me and Lewis Kessler are some of the few like ones that we're always the outliers. We don't have any direct cousins on. You know?
It's-
We keep
Oh.
joking we need to find a connection somehow.
Shame you can't adopt ancestors.
yeah.
I know.
There's a
David and
marriage
I
there
are-
somewhere.
Yeah. David and I are 20 degrees apart, and we are also 22nd cousins. Twice
Ooh.
removed.
Oh, 22nd
back-
cousin.
Going back to our 23rd great-grandfather, Guy Chatillon,
Ooh,
1258.
Wow.
sounds like a crusader.
Yes. Well,
Very nice.
my mother's side is totally French Canadian.
Oh, there you go.
So
Yeah, it's probably one of my English that was probably French that
mhm.
came across. That's really fascinating.
There
I'm
you are,
eighth
Melanie.
cousin
Thank you, Asher.
through the Raymond.
So while you've got that there, Azure, why don't you click on what some of the options, like the ABC option,
Okay.
so you can show them what happens.
Oh,
when
yeah.
that.
Whoa.
Should I take it
Wow.
down to?
So then you can see
like
each
like all the initials.
the initials of each of your ancestors. So if you click on any
Wow.
one of those dots, or it should pop up a window that shows
Oh,
you
that's
that
cool.
person and exactly how they're related, and then of course you can go straight to their profile.
Oh,
Oh
nice.
wow,
That's cool.
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah, in fact, even when you're just in pure dot mode, you can click and it'll pop up the thing. But of course, you're really aiming blind at that point.
Unless you do
But if
the
you want to
gray
pick a
ones.
random profile to work on, that's the best way to do it. Just
Yeah,
randomly
that's
click
was
on a
like
dot.
eeny, meeny, miny, mo. You know,
It's
Exactly.
like having the tossing a dart on your screen.
Exactly. Well,
Melanie,
some
it
of
looks
them,
like you're drowning in the periodic chart. The chart
His
of
periodic
periodic
elements, right? Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. It does look like that a little bit.
yeah,
Oh, that's good. And then you just do first names. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Let's see how many Marys I have in the
Yeah.
chart.
yeah, that's right. Or
Michael's,
if, yeah, you're going to go to
Bridget's.
all.
Well, actually, Rose is a very common family name on my father's side. I have a lot of Rosemarys and Rose. Yeah.
And there's what I was talking
Look
about.
at that.
Nice.
That's impressive.
With the birth
So
and
imagine
death.
that
Yeah.
it's the 7 degrees. It would be just a massive chart, but yeah. You can put it on your
Melanie, you
ceiling.
don't know when you're born? What type of genealogy?
I'm probably privatizing that. That's probably why.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The apps have to run from a different server. Now, if you logged in and used it, then it would probably show you your date of birth, but Azure won't be
Yeah.
able to see it.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. And I'm
Amazing.
guessing those are your parents. They're the two private bubbles.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
He doesn't want to see it.
What's that?
Nope, sorry. You were that was a dog and a cat, sorry.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
A different type of pedigree.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That's true. Nice.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Well, yeah, we had a lot of fun working on these ancestors, and we really enjoy working with you guys. So
Yeah, likewise. We always like working with WikiTree.
Absolutely.
And we're glad to always, come up with, different profiles if you ever want us back again. So we
Oh,
always come
yeah.
up with we always come up with new people very easily. So,
And I think I speak for Melanie on behalf of American ancestors. We're totally indebted to the
Yes.
hard work that people did on this challenge, and we're grateful for the work. So thank you.
yeah,
Our
thank
pleasure.
Thank
It
you
was
for
fun.
everything.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hope
So-
hope everyone, got something out of it and maybe learned something, got connected to a different profile, something, just
Mhm.
learn about who we are too. So as
Yeah.
an organization.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get this recording up on YouTube. It should be available by tomorrow morning,
Okay.
and we'll get that link sent out to you guys. And of course, we'll tag you on them. So,
Yeah, and I think you'll have like the highlights will go out too on the G2G.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Excellent.
Those are always good too. But yeah, I'm definitely happy to poke around more in the profiles and see what you got. So thanks for the links for the pages so we can look at those.
yeah. And I'll send you guys the charts that we just did
Oh, cool.
of
Yeah,
your CC.
yeah, that'd be nice
the
to see
Oh,
that.
categories.
awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
I saved the PDF
Great.
form.
Yeah, that'd be kind of
I'm
cool to kind of
changing
show
my
people that.
wallpaper on my computer immediately.
There you go.
You're gonna have to change it to
Very
your
good.
your cousin. That's what Mary Lovering Holman
Exactly. Exactly.
her CC7.
Right.
Or maybe she
All
just
right, well,
Emma
you got-
Coleman's. Emma Coleman's is like, here's what you want. Here's the big one,
The biggest one.
the biggest one to drive for. This is what we want. We're aiming for, you know, as a.
I might need a bigger screen.
Not Emma Coleman. Holbrook. Holbrook. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you so much, everybody.
Thank
All right.
you.
You
Good
guys have a
night.
good evening.
You too. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you again.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.